Hello, hello. Oh, I'm gonna give it a moment to let people trickle in. Hey, everybody. Good to see you, Triclaw, Harvey, Ramey, Simtown. Is anybody else that I'm missing? I'm assuming there's not too many votes on the poll just because some of you haven't seen it, which shame on you for watching a spoiler review before you've seen the movie, but live your life how you please. But yeah, before we start the review, how are y'all doing? Having a good day? I was in a bit of a funk, but a friend put me in a much better mood, so that's nice. It looks like the poll, even though there's only 3 votes right now, it looks like a majority of people love the movie. One person didn't really like it. I'm not going to reveal how I feel about it until really delve in, because, you know, I want to keep people in suspense. At least 2 people in here already know how I feel about the movie. Bit of a hangover, so I'm just stop drinking more to get rid of the hangover. It's not an actual cure. But all right. Don't want to wait too long, so let's jump into it. My overall initial thoughts of the movie walking out of the theater, I actually wrote notes for this one so I could be like super prepared, was I did not like the movie. I thought it was too campy. I thought it was too silly. It was not my thing. There were a couple parts of the movie that I enjoyed. Overall, though, a vast majority of the movie I did not like at all. So let's discuss what I did and did not like. Starting with the writing, which I think is by far the weakest category for this movie. I know there's a lot of people who think Marvel movies can be super samey or have lackluster writing. As a person with a film degree, I can say a vast majority of Marvel movies have a pretty solid script. Like from beginning to end, solid act 1, 2, 3, decent character arcs and characters I care about. This movie completely destroys 2 characters, one brand new and one that's been with us for a long time. And on top of that, just the writing is kind of nonsensical in my opinion. I didn't see any clear, definitive character arc that either made sense or was really satisfying. And the character that I think they destroyed the most was Wanda, and that really upsets me, dude. Like, I love Wanda. She is one of my favorite MCU characters. I mean, she controls chaos magic, and she always lingers in this kind, or not always in the movies, but at least in the comics, kind of always lingers in this halfway between a good guy and a bad guy kind of thing. She's just a really complex, well-written character, or can be a well-written character. And here I feel like they made her super one-dimensional. They're like, her only, like the only thing she says in the fucking movie most of the time is just like, I'm a mother and I need to get back to my kids. And she never mentions Vision, which is weird because that was kind of like, she didn't want to just be with her kids. Like, she wanted a family. She wanted the kids and Vision. So I don't understand why they took this character that was struggling with so much trauma and grief, and at the same time had so much love to give to, you know, her children and Vision, and even when she was kind of villainous towards other people, would show remorse over hurting other people because that's not who she is. And then in this movie, just from the get-go, she is evil as shit. Like, she just kills indiscriminately. She is totally fine with stealing away America Chavez's powers and killing her in the process. She's like, I don't really care that I'm going to kill a kid because it means I'm going to get my kids. Like, I don't care. Like, I don't believe that Wanda would just not care about something like that. And I know they say the Darkhold corrupts people, but that's just lazy to be like, oh, this evil book just makes her bad, makes her more bad than she is. I'm like, then by that logic, she shouldn't be able to come around to the good side at the very end like she does. I don't know. I really, really don't like what they did with Wanda. I liked some parts of the scenes that she was in, just for like the horror element, seeing her go like full witch mode. That was kind of cool. But again, at the expense of all of the movies and the show that built her character up so well, that really, really bothered me. I was like, I don't know, any scene with her was reduced to her just being insane and just wanting to kill in order to get what she wants, and I didn't think that worked at all. America Chavez was another character that it's just not the way it is in the comics, and usually I'm not super big on that. Like, if they want to make some changes, I'm cool with that, that's fine. But it doesn't seem like they made changes to the character. They just didn't really use the character well. They were like, all right, we have this character, here's the kind of hint, you know, we're not actually going to say that she's part of the LGBT community. She's just going to have this little pin and we're going to talk about her moms kind of thing. And I was like, okay. I mean, I understand it's a big movie. We may not have time for that, but she doesn't do anything the whole fucking movie. She's just upset the whole time. She's like, I don't know how to control it. I don't know how to control it. I don't know how to control it. Until the very end when she does. And then she's learning magic with Doctor Strange, which I thought was weird. I'm like, I don't think America Chavez was ever like a sorcerer or anything, so why are they doing that with the character? I don't know. And yeah, I agree, Raimi, she didn't have like personality. Like, America Chavez from the comics is like a firecracker. She just constantly spouting off everything. Like, she is the one speaking the loudest and fastest in every room, and she is going to outpace you in a conversation kind of thing. But in the movie, she never does that. Like, she has a couple witty remarks, I suppose, but she's just kind of an average girl in the movie who punches Wanda in the face at the end. I was like, I will admit, I laughed at that. And not in a bad way. That was one moment where I was like, okay, that was kind of cool. But yeah, I hated what they did with Wanda. Hated what they did with America Chavez. Or not even hated what they did with America. It was just like, okay. I just didn't really see the purpose of it. What else do I have in my notes here? Oh yeah, the dialogue was actually horrible. There were some conversations in this movie where I'm like, there's not a person in the world who talks like that. There's not one person who would ever say these things. And I really hate that in dialogue. I'm usually pretty forgiving on that kind of stuff too, actually. I'm usually okay with making dialogue a little bit artsy, a little out of the realm of possibility, but here it was just like stupid. They were just stupid lines, and I'm like, what the fuck? I think the moment I made that realization was when Wanda's like trying to penetrate the minds of the people at Camartage, and Wong is like, fortify your minds. I was like, oh my god. Everything just had to be so goddamn campy. Fucking A, Sam Raimi. I will say that outright. I don't like Sam Raimi as a director, and as much as I enjoy the fact that you feel his presence here, because that means, you know, even though it's a Disney Marvel movie, they did give the director creative control. I hate his creative control, so it did not work for me. Simtown, I would agree. It really does seem like they didn't watch WandaVision because again, they're like her children, and I'm like, the show was about more than those kids, you know. Like they were a big part of it, but they were not like the focus. It was called WandaVision, if you recall. Her having moms got it already banned in lots of countries though. Well, that's stupid. They didn't even have a kiss in the movie. Like, there's a moment where I was like, oh, they're about to kiss, and then they, like, cut away from it, because I was like, oh, that's right. Can't have gay stuff in a movie. I forgot. So that's entertaining that it's already being banned. Like, they barely showed anything. What else? Oh, yeah, and I didn't like that America Chavez was essentially just the MacGuffin of the movie. Like, her being the only one who can hop between dimensions or, you know, multiverses. It basically just meant, you know, when the movie needed it to happen, it would happen, and when it would, you know, make it more tense for there to be a conflict, then she just wasn't able to do it. And I was like, all right. Like, I don't know. Her whole character just felt like a weirdly placed thing in this movie. I thought Strange was written all right, but I didn't really like his arc either, of them being like, so are you happy? Are you happy, Steven? Are you happy? And the whole thing is him admitting that no, he's not happy, and, you know, he has a lot of things he needs to work on, I guess. I was like, I feel like that kind of came out of nowhere. And if I heard someone ask him, are you happy, one more fucking time in that movie, I was gonna start throwing shit. That was one of those too on the nose things. I'm like, I am a smart enough audience member for you to not have to literally say, are you happy? I think straight up 7 to 8 times in the movie for me to understand the theme of the movie. Thank you. I appreciate that. So, wasn't a fan of that, but him learning to let go of having control of the situation, I was like, I kind of like that as his arc for the movie. Didn't feel fully realized, but it was decent. It was okay. I thought the pacing was super bad in the movie. It would go from like really fast-paced, tense moments to like really, really slow scenes. And I'm pretty forgiving of dialogue or slow scenes, but hearing this one, I was feeling the length of those scenes sometimes, and I'm like, oh my god, dude. Especially whenever it would go to a Christine scene. I like Rachel McAdams, she's a good actor, but I don't care about that character, Christine. I don't care about her. So every time they would have very, very long scenes with her, I'm like, can we please move on, dude? Like, anything else? Anything, please. And I particularly disliked her being the one to, like, guard him when he dreamwalks into the other universe. I thought the dreamwalking thing was kind of cool. Like, dreamwalking into a corpse of yourself. I was like, that's cool mixture of ideas right there. I like that. The women in this movie did kind of suffer, actually, now that I think about it. Hey, Angel Lover. But yeah, her guarding him, I was like, number one, when he's like, you need to guard me from these spirits, I was like, the fuck is she gonna do? Like, she's not a sorcerer. Why is she here? And then she ended up using the chalice from the first movie, which I was like, well, now I know what it does. But the second she said, like, go back to hell or whatever the fuck she said, I was just rolling my eyes so hard at that. I was like, oh my god, dude. Again, it's Raimi's style. That scene in particular was completely Raimi, but I hate that style of like super campy, cheesy horror. It's not entertaining to me. It is very cringy, not fun. Oh yeah, not you, Raimi. What else? Oh, I did love the mid-credit scene, though, where they introduce Clea. Because not only is Charlize Theron going to be in the MCU, which I'm like, hell yeah, baby. I love Charlize Theron. Clea is just a super cool character. I'm very excited to see how they do it. And the way she looked, it was a little ridiculous, but at the same time, it's superheroes and magic superheroes at that. So I'm like, I'm okay with it. Like, she looks very alien, very sci-fi, like a mixture between sci-fi and magic, but I was down for it. And her like slicing open the air into like a portal into another multiverse, that was pretty sick. Having Captain Carter or Marie Marvel guarding him would be so much better. Wait, guarding who? I can't spell her name, but I love her. No, yeah, she's awesome. After Mad Max, I wanted to shave my head so bad. I got a lumpy head. I know I would not look good with a shaved head, but yeah, she was awesome in that movie as well. So yeah, it was probably my favorite scene in the whole movie was that mid-credit scene, which I shouldn't say this now because I haven't actually posted the video for it yet, but I have already seen it, the finale for Moon Knight. In the finale, the end credit scene for that was also my favorite scene in the finale, and in this case for the movie, the end credit scene was my favorite. Which isn't good, I should say. I'm like, I would have hoped the main story was my favorite part, but oh well. Doctor Strange from the Souls of the Damned instead of killing them so quick. Oh, wait. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. I mean, that maybe even them, I'm like, I don't know what they would do to the spirits of the damned either. I'm like, you would have had to have had another sorcerer. Again, if the love interest was Clea and not Christine, Clea could have had a cool action scene right there where she's, protecting him from the spirits of the damned and stuff. But instead, they were like, we're going to have Christine literally use this chalice like a cannon and then say a cheesy line. And I mean, I don't trust Sam Raimi would have done a great job with Clea either, but I'm just saying. So yeah, for the writing of the movie, I gave it a 3 out of 10. I was very, very either underwhelmed or disappointed or cringing from what would happen in terms of writing. Because, yeah, I cannot stand what they did with Wanda. Cannot stand it. Especially that she chooses to end the movie by killing herself. I'm like, again, there's no way she's dead, obviously. Which is also annoying. I don't like the trope in anything, but especially superhero movies, because it is one of the major criticisms of superhero movies, and so far the MCU's actually been good about not doing it. But when you fake kill someone only to have them surprise come back later when it's not really a surprise to anybody, I really don't like that. Endgame did a great job with killing off those characters, and they have stayed dead. They're gone. They are gone, and we are moving forward. And this feels like such an obvious she's not dead situation, but it still really bothers me that after all of WandaVision, where she is very close to killing herself, but goes through this whole entire season to deal with that grief and come to a sort of resolution to it all, to then decide, all right, I'm gonna go kill myself because of what I've done. And I hated that so much. And I rolled my eyes so goddamn hard when she was just like, I'm not a monster. I would never hurt you. I would never hurt anyone. I'm like, bitch, you just killed 12 people in like the most brutal way I have ever seen in a Marvel movie. Which I did like that. We'll get to that later. And I get it. That's the point. She's supposed to be, so disillusioned with reality. But at the same time, I'm like, they just made Wanda stupid in this movie. She's not stupid. Like, they've made a point in the other movies and the show that she is not stupid. And this movie, she's dumb as hell the whole time. She's fucking stupid. I can't stand it. So yeah, 3 out of 10 for the writing. Not good. Editing. Hate to say it, did not like the iMovie transitions that they did during this movie. The shapes coming in and out to like fade between shots. It works in a Star Wars movie because it's classic. Like, that is what Star Wars is meant to do, and that is the only place I want to or expect to see it, because if I see it anywhere else, again, it looks like an iMovie transition or something you made on your fucking laptop. I can't stand it. Like, there's the only one I can think of off the top of my head, but there are a few, is when Doctor Strange gets drugged by Mordo, and then it all fades out and it's just a perfect circle on his face, like some Looney Tunes shit. I don't like that campy style, man. I really don't. A new 7-movie deal. Oh yeah, so she's super dead, right? Like, again, why the fuck did they decide to do that? It's so annoying. Like, you're only giving people a reason to criticize it, where they're like, yeah, see? They don't kill off characters because they do this shit. They're like, oh, they're dead. No, they're not. I hate that. If you're gonna pretend to kill someone, have the balls to kill them from the story. And if they're not ready to die from the story, like there's stuff they need to do later, then don't fucking kill them. Do something else with their ending. What about Billy and Tommy? Where are my children? Yeah, I was also disappointed with the fact that they weren't like aged up, or we got a different teenage version of the kids or anything, but whatever. I'm fine with waiting. Honestly, it gives me a chance to play Billy, so they have not cast the role yet. Hell yes. What's a lot of movies? Yeah, that is a lot of movies. Big rumors for a solo Scarlet Witch movie. I would watch it if it was not... If Sam Raimi was so fucking far away from this movie, and whoever wrote this movie, I don't have the time to look it up. They should have used a Multiverse Wanda instead of our Wanda. I mean, I would have been fine with Wanda almost going on the same journey, but again, they just made her so cruel and stupid. Had they had her go on the same journey where she's like, I need to find a way to get to my children in the other multiverse, but again, change that from just my children to children and Vision, because why the fuck would she be looking for Vision? And yeah, again, have her show at least some remorse for what she's doing. At that point, I could be like, oh wow, this is kind of sad. She doesn't want to become this monster, but to get what she wants after having everything taken from her whole life, she's got to do it. That would be compelling to me, but she wasn't. She was just evil. She was just like, hee hee hee, I'm glad I'm gonna kill you and leave your... Oh, like what she said to Reed Richards, which... Cool cameo. That got me to sit up in my seat. I was like, oh fucking shit, what? When she tells him, like, you know, do your kids still have a mom? Is she still around? And he's like, yeah. She's like, oh, well then they'll have someone to raise them. I was like, for one, what is the huge focus on single mothers in this movie? Seems like a weird theme to focus on, but all right. And again, it's just so cruel for her to be like, oh yeah, I'm glad I'm about to kill you and leave these children without a father. I'm like, since when has Wanda ever been this cruel? Even with Ultron, like the person, or yeah, a person who killed her brother, she was kind of sinister with him. She ripped his heart out, essentially, but again, like, she had at least reason to be cruel in that situation, or with Thanos later. But here, there's just no reason for her to be so fucking evil. And I don't accept the Darkhold made her do it. So I'm like, no. That cannot be an excuse. I'm so tired of any stories, particularly superhero ones, to be like, oh, they were possessed. It wasn't their fault. I'm like, no, easy cop out. Tired of it. Stop doing that. Make sure never to use those transitions. I mean, again, it's just not professional looking. Can it be used in a way that is fun and campy? Yes, and that's what it was used like here, but in my big multiverse movie that has to do with like horror-based magic and witchcraft, I wanted them to take some things a little bit seriously. Like, not, again, it's a comic book superhero movie. I want it to have fun, not necessarily be super serious all the time. But to never take it seriously, even for 1 second, did not like that. Michael Waldron wrote this movie. Well, fuck him. He fucked up. He does not understand the character of Wanda, clearly. He just wanted her to be like she was in the comics. And even then, I don't think he did a good job. I'm like, this isn't really like the comic version of Wanda either. White Vision should have been in it. It would have been a cool moment, or any Vision. Like, you're going through fucking multiverses and you don't see Vision at any point. Yeah. They did say that the book made her evil. Yeah, and that's just a lame excuse, I think. Like, if the book has tempting knowledge in it, it's like, oh, you could have this, but to do it, you have to do this evil thing. And tempts you in that regard, where she's like, I really need that thing, but I don't want to do such an evil thing, and then ultimately does it because she makes the choice to do it. That is so much more compelling. That is so much more interesting than the book just physically makes you a bad person. I'm like, I don't know. That's just lame to me. In any storytelling, not just Marvel superhero or magic stuff, like in anything where they're like, oh yeah, this thing just makes you really evil. I'm like, okay. I hope they don't go too far down that road with what's his name, Black Knight? Is that what his name is? I'm not super familiar with all the supernatural superheroes in Marvel comics, but the guy who was in Eternals, you know, Jon Snow. Oh, yeah, that's right. But for editing, sorry, I got super sidetracked. There were also a lot of edits that were, again, very campy and over the top, where it was like an overlay of the person, like kind of sliding into the scene to transition with everything. Sometimes that works. Sometimes it does not. And here, again, it was so over the top and just shoved in your face that I was like, ugh, I don't like it. Like, the first time I noticed that was when Wanda is doing the dream walking ritual, and it's just doing these weird edits of her, like, overlapping what you're seeing Doctor Strange and all them talk about, and yeah, I just didn't like it. Yeah, I did not like that. There was some decent horror editing in there, though. A lot of jump scares, which I'm not a fan of, but it actually did. There were some moments that were effectively creepy because they would hold on a shot and do a really, really long take on something, and I was like, oh, this is pretty good. This is pretty good. This is making me a little spooked, and I normally don't get that in a Marvel movie, so that was pretty fun. Like, even though, oh my god, even though it was so frustrating when Wanda's chasing after them after the big Illuminati fight scene and they're in the tunnels, like, she's just ripping through these giant metal doorways that they're trying to stop her with. And then on the very last one, she doesn't just immediately rip through it. It just shuts. And so they stop running for fucking some reason. They're like, oh, I'm sure that's the one that worked. I'm like, are you actually dumb? What the hell is this shit? Again, that's Sam Raimi style for characters to do dumb shit for the sake of, like, a cool moment or to make it campy and funny. But I hate that shit. But the editing in that moment was great. Just like focusing on these long shots and close-ups on the characters. I was like, ooh, I'm nervous. What is she gonna do? And then when she just like stepped in the room, I actually jumped. So I was like, all right, good job. Good job. That was good. But because of the iMovie transitions and the weird overlapped editing, you know, just to be over the top for the sake of it, I'm going to give the editing a 5 out of 10. Cinematography. I don't like Sam Raimi's style. He has this very... I'm trying to just think of how to describe it. They did it exactly straight out of an Evil Dead movie at one point in the movie, and I really, really didn't like it. When Wanda is like going to possess her other self, and it's just this handheld POV style camera that just like runs around the environment. It looks so cheap and stupid. I hate that style. A lot of people like that. A lot of people love the Evil Dead movies. I cannot stand them. I think it is just so over the top and ridiculous, and it doesn't make me laugh because of it. It just irritates me. And it did the same thing here. There were some good shots in the movie, though. Particularly, I liked the scene of Doctor Strange going into the like destroyed sanctorum, and he's going up this flight of stairs where there's like this crescent blood moon and everything's perfectly symmetrical. Like, that looked really, really good. But there were other shots where I felt like it was overly saturated for no reason. There were other parts where, again, he would just do his really campy style of horror, where it's like this really rapid zoom on someone's face to show that they died, or I don't know, because they have a strong emotion to something, and it's just like boom. And again, it's just so over the top. Some people like it, and nothing against people who do like that. I can't stand it. So cinematography is also going to get a 5 out of 10 for me. Oh wait, I got questions. What surprised me is that we did not see how the book actually made her evil. Did it show Wanda her kids' vision? Again, that's another problem with it. I'm like, if you're going to do this whole she's possessed by the book thing, you have to show that happen at the least. But the movie just starts with that already having happened, apparently. And I'm like, but what do you mean? What do you mean? Last time I saw her, she was not fucking evil, dude. Anyways, moving on to sound design. I do think there was some really good use of silence. I loved the sound design during the moment when Wanda gets trapped in like the mirror trap, and she doesn't know how to get out of it at first, so she like reaches into the mirror and it's like water or something. Like, that was really cool. And again, it was really effective use of silence. Like, during that moment, I was so ready for a jump scare, and it didn't come, which just left me in this weird uneasy state, and I was like, oh, that was good. That was good. Nice. Very nice. What other sound bits did I enjoy or not? Oh, that's right. Probably my least favorite scene of the movie. Maybe, I don't know. There's a couple contenders for that one, in my opinion. The music fight scene. And for anyone who hasn't seen this movie and they're watching a spoiler review without watching the movie, shame. You heard that right. A music fight scene. And not in a cool way like it was in Scott Pilgrim. In a really silly, stupid way. I was just rolling my eyes during that whole scene. And it wasn't even good music. Like, it wasn't like their fight created a song or something. It was just like, oh, here's a little sample of Beethoven's Fifth with another just loud cacophony of noise or something. And you're just, it was so dumb. And there's no setup for that at all. Just out of nowhere in the movie, they're having a magic fight. And then for some reason, all their spells are music based, and they're just pulling notes off of like sheet music and stuff. And I just don't understand. It was not one of those moments where I'm like, oh, this is silly, but it's fun. I was like, this is silly, and I do not understand why we're doing this. And why we're doing this for so long. Like, had they done one music spell, I would have been like, oh, that's clever, that's creative. But then they just keep doing it. They're like, all right, this is now only a music fight, and I didn't get it. Did not understand it, didn't enjoy that. I thought that was really, really stupid. And it didn't sound good. Again, if it made like a cool song or something, I might have been into it. I might have been like, all right, that was neat. But no, it was just sounds until Sinister Strange is killed by the sounds. So I was like, all right then, whatever. The movie is, without credits, it's a little under 2 hours, so it's too short personally. I think they needed more time to effectively tell the story they were trying to tell. But even if they did, I still probably wouldn't have liked it, because I just don't like the story they're telling with this. It's not good in my opinion. So the sound design for me, oh wait, that's right, I want to talk about that. Doctor Strange now has like a metal kind of spin to his theme, which I thought was weird. It wasn't like one of those deal breaker moments. Oh shit. Alright, are we good? I think we might be okay again. Let me know if it's all good for you guys. It looks like it's good on my end. Okay, we back. But yeah, there's like a metal theme to Doctor Strange's like musical theme now, and I don't hate it, but I'm also like, why? I don't know. It was just one of those things where it didn't really feel like it fit the character to me, or the theme of his magic style or anything. Seems more in line with like Thor, or who else would that fit with? Heavy metal. I don't know. It's not Doctor Strange per se. Again, I don't hate it. It's just it doesn't quite vibe with me. But for sound design, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. I thought it was meh. Could have been better. Really didn't like that music fight. Like, really, really didn't like the music fight. Acting. I thought Elizabeth Olsen does the best job out of everyone. She has shit material to work with, but she really tries. Like, she really, really tries to bring it all together, because she's doing a great job. Like, I really feel the pain and anguish of her character. I really feel the sinister or evil parts of her character. But because there's not really much else written for her, she doesn't really get a chance to do much else. She has a couple moments of comedy that are actually pretty decent. But, you know. I do think... I'm trying to think of a name for him. Bendy Dick Cucumber was very good in the movie. But I feel like even he... like, just his character as a whole felt like kind of a bystander to the movie. Like, again, that's sort of the point. By the end of it, he's supposed to relinquish control, but I never really felt like he was pushing the narrative forward. It kind of just felt like stuff was happening. Well, it's not entirely true. Like, Wanda's the one who pushes the narrative forward, and there's not necessarily anything bad about that, but I felt like as the main hero, he didn't really do a whole lot. But in terms of acting, he did, you know, again, as much as he could with what he had. I just thought the dialogue in this movie was very, very poorly written. Like, it was... There were some dialogue moments that were just so cringy, I could not stand it. Like, what does Christine say to him at the wedding? I can't even remember what she says. She says some dumb shit to Steven, and I was like, again, no normal person has ever or would ever talk like this. And they kind of brushed it over. They're like, oh, how long have you had that one saved up? And I was like, well, it's a little more forgiven if it's, you know, something she planned to say. But even then, I'm like, who plans to say that? Like, what the fuck? But again, the acting was fine. Honestly, I think the acting from just about everybody was quite good. I think the weakest acting was from the girl playing America Chavez, but it's not that she did like a bad job. She just, again, didn't have a whole lot to do. She was like, meh. She was all right, not terrible. So for acting, I'll do an 8 out of 10. I think especially Elizabeth Olsen and Bumberton Cinnamon Patch were both like super good. Costumes and makeup, a little hit or miss for me. Miss America, yes, she wasn't. Are you happy? Oh my god, so many people said that fucking line. It was ridiculous. I think Scarlet Witch looked incredible. Her costume was the best it has ever been. I loved it. Like, anytime she was on screen in costume, I was just kind of bouncing in my seat. I'm like, ooh, she looks so cool. Like, it looks sinister, but at the same time, it's like functional and kind of sexy. Like, she just looked great. And the, you know, the red energy that she shoots around always adds to it. So she looked fantastic throughout the movie, including when she was like covered in oil and she had the very, very like horror-esque look going on. I thought that looked really cool. Strange and Wong looked fine. There were slight little updates and modifications to their costumes, and I've always liked their costumes, so they look good. Nothing wrong with that. Chavez looked okay, like sort of close to the comic book version, but again, it's like a watered down version of it. It's like, oh, there's the denim jacket, and I might have seen like a pride pin on her jacket or something, and then there's the star on the back of her jacket and all that, but her hair didn't really look like America Chavez to me. The rest of her outfit didn't really look very America Chavez. She didn't have fingerless gloves, and I know that's a weird thing to be upset about, but I'm like, she's fucking America Chavez. She's supposed to have fingerless gloves, god damn it. But, you know, whatever. Also, Reed Richard, it was very comic accurate, the Fantastic Four costume he's wearing, but it also, in my opinion, seemed a little uninspired. I was like, it's a little boring. Like, it's not terrible. It looked good, but, you know, it's just a little too comics accurate, maybe. It was just like a blue suit with a couple little black patches on it, I guess. But it looked all right. And overall, I'd give costumes and makeup like a 7 out of 10. Set design was probably my favorite aspect of the movie, actually. I think it was very, very good. There's really only like 2 universes that you explore in the movie. For a movie called The Multiverse of Madness, you spend very little time actually going through the multiverse. Oh, thank you. But what you do end up seeing, I think, was super, super good. Oh, do you think that I should play Reed in the... Oh, I do. I think John Krasinski was good enough. Like, he didn't really have much time in the movie to do it. And this is a spoiler discussion. Like, you don't gotta mark anything spoilers. If anyone gets spoiled right now, I mean, you have been warned. You have had your warning a long, long time ago. But yeah, I just thought the set designs were quite good. I really liked the Sanctorum and Camertage, because again, it's, I don't want to say satanic, but there are like very witchcraft, pagan kind of imagery moments that they've applied to all the sets that are magic based. And that's fucking sick, actually. Like, again, I just love seeing Doctor Strange like arrange all the candles around him and then do like the devil horn signs and light up all the candles and stuff. It just has such a, you know, black magic kind of look to it, and they do a great job with that in the movie, including the really high-tech, sleek sets of the Illuminati and all that. That I thought was all very good. So set design for me gets 10 out of 10. Best part of the movie, I think, was the set design. You can also spoil me with money and gifts. You can spoil me with money and gifts, actually. He already comes with a perfect invisible woman. Oh my god. And then finally, visual effects. We're gonna have some problems here because I am pretty forgiving to visual effects. I can sometimes, even if it's obvious that it's visual effects, I can appreciate the artistry behind it. Like, oh wow, it probably took, you know, so much time to animate that monster or that little flash of energy or whatever. Like, you know, piecing it all together is impressive to me, even when it's not perfectly seamless and realistic looking. But here, there were some moments that I thought looked downright awful, like just really lazy, in my opinion. The worst one of them all being a moment in the movie that was almost my favorite part of the movie, but kind of got fucked up by the visual effects here, was when Wanda's using the reflections in Camertage to like try and get into the room that they're in, because she's been trapped by the mirrors and all that. And then there's a part where she like reaches through this big, either a gong or a shield on the wall or something, and she like crawls out of it, but she's all twisted up, and it's very Pennywise and It. Like, it was, in my opinion, I think they were definitely ripping that scene from It. But the effects looked terrible. Like, when she twists herself all back together and you see her face, it's just so obviously like a 2008 video game CGI, and I was like, what the fuck? How does a Marvel movie at this point have a visual effect that looks that bad? And that really, really upset me, honestly, because there are scenes in the movie where the visual effects are amazing, like really, really good. I particularly like the scene with Doctor Strange and America Chavez falling through the various multiverses, because that was very reminiscent of the first movie when he has his extremely trippy visual, and it's like the moment that the movie is remembered for. And they even kind of make fun of that right afterwards, where he's like, oh, you know, I've done that kind of stuff before. So it's clear that that's what they're doing. Like, that was that moment again, you know, the sequel to that moment from the first movie. And the visual effects in that moment were very, very good, including the dinosaur universe that just popped up out of nowhere. I know it has a name. It's like the Badlands, or no, it's not the Badlands. It's called something. But seeing that for a brief moment, I was like, this looks so fucking cool. This is awesome. I really like this. And then you had other moments like that thing with Wanda coming out of the mirror all disjointed that just looked terrible. And it's just frustrating that it would go back and forth and back and forth. I don't even know what y'all are talking about. But yeah, the mirror thing especially pissed me off, because I was like, if you're gonna rip off It and do that scene, I'm okay with that. I mean, there's no movie that has been created ever, except for the very first ones created, that are brand new and have never been done before. It's all about putting your own spin on something that's already been done, but again, if you're going to put your own spin on it, do it right. Do it well. Like, that looked like shit. So, visual effects is going to get a 3 out of 10 for me. And added all up, that makes this movie a 5.9 out of 10, or an F+. So yeah, it's safe to say it looks like no one voted for the hated it category. I hated this movie. I did not enjoy myself. I don't plan on rewatching it. I will rewatch it at least one time, because I always watch everything at least twice if I am able to, because, I mean, you never know. Maybe you were just in a shitty mood the first time you watched it, or in too good of a mood the first time you watched it, or maybe there's stuff you missed, or maybe your outlook on life has changed by the time you watch it again. I think it's important to rewatch things sometimes. You never know how your mind has changed in order to accept what's going on with it all. But as of now, having seen it one time, I hated it. I did not like the movie at all. Like I said, 5.9 out of 10. It is, in my opinion, a fail. If I was certified on Rotten Tomatoes, this would be getting a rotten score. Yeah, didn't like it. I did not like the movie. It's so ugly. I love it. I mean, again, I am not hating on anybody who loved it. I see a lot of people in here did love it, or at least thought it was all right, and good for you. I'm glad you enjoyed your movie. I am super glad. It's the same thing when Raised by Wolves happened, and I really hated how that all went down, but other people were like getting mad at me for not liking how it went. I'm like, you know what? I'm glad you guys like it, but I don't. And in this case, I am going to be the judgmental person who's like, I don't really understand why you liked it, but if you liked it, good for you. I'm happy you are happy. But enough shit talking the movie. I feel like I did that the whole time. I didn't like it, so that's kind of why. But let's think about some stuff that I did like. I'm thinking. Okay, here's something. I didn't like what they did with the Illuminati. I felt like it was kind of a waste. They were just there and then they were dead. So I was like, don't see the purpose, but it was cool to see those characters, I guess. One man's trash is another man's treasure. Yeah. You agree with all the criticism but still like it. Fair enough. I feel like that's more my issue sometimes when people are like, oh, I like this thing that I don't like. When they're just like, no, you're wrong, it's perfect. I'm like, you're allowed to like it, but you have to admit what's wrong about this. I mean, you don't have to do anything, I'm just saying. I would never get mad at you. Oh, thank you. You're allowed to do that too, though. But yeah, the Illuminati was cool. Seeing Captain Carter, I was like, oh shit! Like, I did get very excited about that. Black Bolt was really surprising to me. Did not think they were going to canonize the Inhuman show, or at least a little bit, you know. Reed Richards was also one where I was like, holy shit, I can't believe, for one, that they kept that a secret, and two, that this is actually happening. This is fucking cool. They attacked one by one, not together. They deserve to die. They did do the classic attack one by one thing, and I was like, okay. Sometimes I'll let that slide in a movie, because I'm like, I'm okay with making it a little more exciting, a little more tense. But when you're up against the Scarlet Witch, I'm like, it's going to be tense no matter how this goes down. Maybe you should all try this at once, because she's about to fucking kill every single one of you. And she did. And I did like how unbelievably brutal that scene was. I don't think anyone would disagree with me in saying that that is by far the like goriest or bloodiest Marvel has ever gone. And I liked it. I did like that. Like seeing Wanda remove Black Bolt's mouth and then his head just fucking blows up from the inside. I was like, oh, holy shit. That was definitely the first moment in the movie where I was like, all right, we're not fucking around here, actually. Wanda does want to, is willing to, and is going to kill all these people. And I like that aspect of it. Like, again, that was cool. I do fear that this opens the gates where the multiverse makes death cheap. You see, one thing I did like about the movie was I felt like they made it very established, especially with America being the only one that can hop between multiverses, where they're like, yes, this is a thing now. It is a possibility for us to find variants of all these other people and for those variants to die or, you know, live, whatever. But they're kind of soft closing it all. They're like, it's not going to be just a quick hopping over between multiverses, pulling characters this way and that way. It's, at the very least, an ordeal to get those characters from one to the next. So I don't really mind that. Best kill was Professor X. Seems they had issues. Yeah, that was fucked up. That was pretty cool, though. Again, I like mind battles just because if it's a battle in your mind, you can visualize that in so many different ways. And visualizing it as the other Wanda being trapped under the rubble in her house while he's trying to pull her out, and then just the Scarlet Witch comes with the red mist and snaps his neck. I was like, that was pretty cool. That was creepy. I liked it. It was kind of sad to see Professor X die, but it was cool. Seems Wanda is angry about something, Professor. Yeah. I mean, she did try to be reasonable, as she said. Like, this is not the Captain Carter from What If. Yeah, she seemed a little different. But honestly, they all seemed a little different. They all just seemed kind of like assholes for seemingly no reason. They're like, yeah, our Stephen Strange, he did kill trillions of people in another multiverse, so we just don't like anybody. I don't know. But yeah, I liked all the kills in that scene just because, again, it was brutal as hell. And I was like, damn, I have really wanted to see Marvel get that brutal. And I finally did, so that was cool. I was really upset with how quick Reed Richards died, though. That was one where I'm like, well, what could he honestly do to Scarlet Witch? Not really anything. But I was still a little disappointed with how quick he died. He didn't get to do anything. Same with Black Bolt, but at least you saw Black Bolt use his ability one time in a flashback. In a cool way, too, with him saying, you know, I'm sorry, and that just, like, resonates a million times until it, like, just obliterates Doctor Strange. That was pretty cool. Again, it was a lot of the spectacle in this movie that I was like, well, that's cool. That's fun. I like that little horror thing, or I like the visual of that. I really liked the super, like, witchcraft, demonic, Satan style aesthetic to a lot of the witchcraft and magic in the movie. That was nice. But then they would just kind of fuck it up in other ways. So, you know. Overall, the movie extremely disappointed me. Again, I don't plan on watching it again anytime soon. I will be, though, because I want to give it another shot. Maybe I'm wrong. Was Reed Richards hot? He was. It was John Krasinski, so yeah. I mean, they had to have used the body double for Haley Atwell, because it was clear when she was standing next to Wanda that she was like a foot taller, and I'm like, I know Haley Atwell's not that big. I know for sure she's not. So they had to have used like a body double for her or something. But it's not like I noticed it, and I'm sure they didn't do it all the time. So yeah, it looked good. Not in the way that Michael thinks it's hot, but actually hot. I mean, he's dead, so not very hot when he's turned into ribbons. But yeah, that is my opinion on the movie. Again, if you enjoyed it, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I hated it. I did not like it at all. I think it's a complete destruction of Wanda's character. Not a great start to America Chavez's character. And overall, I don't quite see the purpose to it all. Doesn't really feel like it sets up too terribly much in the future, but at the same time, it does open a few doors that, you know, lead to other multiverse possibilities. So, you know, we'll see. And Reed Richards was peak, like, Daddy Richards in this movie. I will admit that. As soon as he showed up, I was like, okay. I've had my doubts about John Krasinski as Reed Richards, but I'm liking what I'm seeing. Yeah. Didn't like the movie. Well, I don't hope you did, but if you did, good. I'm glad. Expect to see some videos coming up here for the rest of Moon Knight and Atlanta. I'm just catching up. You know, a lot of shit's been going on. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed. Have a good evening, afternoon, morning, wherever it is, wherever you are. And that is about it.